All right, FightHype.com here with the two-time world champion, Showtime Shawn Porter. Shawn, what's up, champ?
Champ. You know the difference between a champ and a chump?
What's that?
Letter U.
Okay, good. It's a new one. Thank you, Kenny. Shawn, what's going on, man?
What's up,
I just saw you sparring 8 tremendous rounds with Cartavius Cash.
Yeah.
That's some of the best stuff you could ever see. I gotta ask you, man. After a guy comes off a war like you did with Errol Spence, and he's not in his 20s anymore. You know, you're in your early 30s. Sometimes people will wonder, can that guy come back at 100%? And it looked like in the ring today, you may be even looking better than ever before. How's that happening? Why?
You know what? My dad and I were just talking about my new son. My son is 9 days old now. Just got home. My dad said he's just cutting off my hand wraps, and we're talking a little bit. He says, I've never seen a baby lift his head up in just one day. I said, well, Shaddai, my older son, did it early, and he says no, but the first day. He said, I have it on video. He lifted his head up. Not many babies do that. And I thought to myself, well, it's in our blood. My baby's different, and it's because I'm different. Shaddai clearly is different. Anybody spends 5 minutes or less around him, and they know that he's different. And I kind of was answering your question while I was over there, just meditating on my son, and began to meditate on myself, and then here you go. So the answer to that is I'm just different. I think anyone who does not recognize that or does not admit that is, for the sake of words, hating, or just does not have the correct education, not just for boxing, but for athletes in general. Anyone, any athlete, any boxer especially, can see that there's something different about me. And the easiest way I can explain it is God. God has made me who I am. Cash asked me the first day he saw me, he says, hey man, you're just so humble. How do you stay so grounded? And I said, it's because of God. God has made me who I am. I've got the personality that I have, of course, for my family, but my family are an extension of who God, so I'm just different, man. And I think right now, even myself, I'm going through a little bit of a transitional phase, just having another baby, trying to keep everything tight and all the way right, you know what I mean? So what you saw today was just me making a conscious decision to really just apply myself today. And you caught me on a good day. Obviously, we want to have more days like this. Cash can tell you we've been rumbling a couple of times, I would say, and I think he would say that today was probably my best day. And he came in here and did some different things as well too. So the good part about it is, coming through this COVID virus, the funny thing is I started sparring with my dad. My dad says, we got to get you moving. He said, you've been sitting around, but we got you back working on the bags and things like that. He said, but you need some live action. Who can we get in here? And as we were all thinking about it, he was like, bring some gear tomorrow. And he gets in the gym, and he comes in here and he spars with me for about 2.5 weeks, I think. And that's his commitment level, So collectively, I just answered that first question with a lot of things. My dad has the kind of commitment to the sport, to me, to our team, to our family, to not allow me to take any steps backwards. And then even me myself, like I said today, making a conscious committed effort today is what came out and showed out in the ring today.
Well, you're talking about being different. When we talk about, Ali Frazier, De La Hoya Mosley, fights that people are going to go on YouTube forever and continue to watch, there haven't been a whole lot of them the last 5-10 years, but 2 of them that is Thurman Porter and Porter Spence.
Go ahead.
And it's in order to have a fight like that, it's two-way action, and you got to take punishment.
I've said this before. No fighter wants to take punishment. No fighter wants to get hit. Obviously, the name of the game is hit and not get hit. And I know for a fact, I'm speaking for every fighter in this world, if they had it their way, every fight will last 10 seconds with them leaving with their hand up on the knockout. It's not what we want. However, I remember my dad giving me a tape. I was about 9-10 years old. It was the Fabulous Four. It was Leonard, Duran, Hearns, and Hagler. And I remember watching those fights and them being on a cassette. I made this. I said, I want to have fights one day that people watch for a long time. I want to have fights that people watch forever. And the fact that people bring those 2 fights up as fights that they can watch over and over, I don't think I'm there yet, but I do think that there are 2 that you can say on my resume would be 2 fights that you could kind of watch, maybe see some things different every time, be entertained, hopefully every time. And that's a part of my legacy. I think other guys, their legacy are championship belts and money. Honestly, one of the biggest parts of my legacy, I want to be one of the remembered fighters for a long time.
Because those hold up.
Yeah.
They're on that tier.
You know what? It happened probably in the last 3 or 4 years, maybe a little longer than that. I would hear people saying this guy fights like Shawn Porter, and I've also heard people say he has the Shawn Porter style. And no matter what they're doing in the ring, the fact that my name comes up in that conversation, I've had a few thoughts like, I'm doing it, you know? I'm doing it, and I'm not done yet.
A big topic that's gone down the last several months is Terrence Crawford. You grew up with all these guys, you know, Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. You knew these guys, as does Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes the Terrence Crawford situation different? And he's saying it's different too. I'm not just putting it on you, but
well, I've had a conversation with him, and I'm not afraid to speak on this conversation. We talked and said, "Hey man, I love you," and he was like, okay. I was like, let me tell you why I love you. I love you because you're different. You're a lot like me in the sense that we don't do what any of those other fighters out there in the world do. And I love that about you. And that's why I love you. I love you because every time I see you, I get the same Terrence Crawford every time. It ain't got to be a whole bunch of people. You ain't got to show me off. You're not showing anything off to me. And I dig that about you. I said, I'm the same way. Everything is regular around here. I'm the same old G that I've always been. And I said, I've always recognized that about you ever since the amateur days. And that's why I always rocked with you. And that's why I'm going to always rock with you. So when people say what's different about the relationship between Terrence Crawford
to where
and Shawn
it can't
Porter,
happen.
and I said this to them, especially given that I'm from Ohio, pretty much never been to Nebraska, and I don't think you've ever been to Ohio. He's like, nah, I ain't never been. I said, the fact that we live so far apart and we don't see each other that many times, people always wonder, what is that? I said, so I just want to let you know that real recognize real, and you give me the same thing every time I see you, and that's why you will always be one of my guys in boxing. I said, I can't hang with everybody in boxing, but I know whenever you come to my city, I can get up with you because it's going to be the same thing it's always been.
So is that fight off the table? And
the fight, to the best of my knowledge, is off the table right now. I know he's got some things brewing, and you know we're all coming back from the COVID. I'm not. It's not necessary for me to take a tune-up fight. I'll fight anybody in the world right now. But I do know that he's got some things brewing, and because of the COVID, I got some things brewing. Nothing big. That you know everybody was. It's not going to be a rematch with Errol Spence, which is something that everybody wants. It's not going to be anything like that right now. But down the line, I know he said it. Everybody's got to fight everybody. He looked at me. He said, I don't care about fighting nobody. I don't care who it is. And I had to laugh. And he said, but right now, I don't think it's going to be me and you. I said, all right, cool.
Okay, it just sucks because we're seeing Crawford without a dance partner, and then a great one comes along, but you guys are buds. To the point where.
That's not it. The business is what's keeping us from fighting, and I don't mean it's the business by PBC and Top Rank. I just mean that he has some things going on that's going to lead him a different path right now, and I have something else going on that's going to lead me in a different path. And it's not that he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna lead that." I don't want to lead that and fight you or anything like that. Just we have the understanding that he's going that way right now. I'm going this way, and everybody just gonna have to be patient.
Is the Spence you fought last September at Staples, would that guy beat Crawford, or from what you know?
That guy was very good.
Mm-hmm.
He was good to the point where the last round, we came in, we touched gloves. Normally it just touch gloves and you fight, but I touched gloves with him, and I said, good shit, boy, because the work was that good. And the night was that good and that competitive, and I wanted it, and I could tell that he wanted it too. Does that fighter beat Terrence Crawford? That fighter was strong. That fighter was very good. I saw some holes. I saw that I was a step ahead of him a majority of that fight. And with saying that, no, I don't think that fighter can beat Terrence Crawford. But I've already said that in a match, I don't think Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford. I think that Terrence wins that fight. I think he's got more in his arsenal.
Well, that's a very big statement because, as you know, fighters are proud, and when they lose a close fight to another guy, they're often going to say that guy would beat everybody to make themselves,
I think it goes both ways because you got guys that are going to hate. and be
Right,
like, oh,
right,
that
right,
wasn't nothing.
right.
Nah, nah, nah.
Right.
I'm not hating. And putting my friendship with Terrence Crawford to the side, and I'm gonna stop saying that because you already know we're friends, so there's no need to say that anymore. But putting the bias opinion that most people would think that I would have for Terrence, giving our history, I still think that that's a fight that Terrence Crawford would win. I just think it is.
Really?
We talked, and he said, I thought Keith Thurman was gonna beat Manny Pacquiao. I said, you did? He said, yeah, I thought Keith Thurman was gonna beat Manny Pacquiao. I said I didn't. Wasn't me hating on Keith. It wasn't the fact that me and Keith have history, anything like that. I saw what I thought that I saw, and for me, it really did show up in the ring. And the fight played out the way that it played out.